What is up, guys? It is Coasters and Things here today, and recently I got the chance to visit Six Flags St. Louis for the first time, and I got to ride all 9 of their roller coasters. In this video, I'm going to rank each of St. Louis's coasters from my least favorite to my favorite. Alright then, let's get started. Coming in last place is Boomerang. This is by far the worst Vekoma Boomerang I have ever ridden. It was relocated from Six Flags Over Texas in 2013. When you go up the second spike, you get jerked really hard into the back of your seat. The other Boomerangs I've ridden didn't do it like this one did. This Boomerang's super janky in my opinion. Ironically, this was the last coaster that Six Flags St. Louis added, and in my opinion, this is the worst coaster in the park by far. Number 8 is River King Mine Train. This is the oldest coaster in the park. It opened with the park in 1971. While this isn't my favorite mine train that I've ridden, it does have some decent forces to it. I knew absolutely nothing about this ride going into it, other than it was an aerodynamics mine train. It has 3 lift hills in it. It actually originally had 2 sides to it. It was a dueling mine train originally. It also was a stand-up coaster for 1 year in 1984. Now, why did I rank this over Boomerang? Because it's a little more re-rideable than Boomerang is. One thing that I was not a fan of, though, was how rock hard the seats were. They were not padded at all, so it hurt your butt when you went around turns. Number 7 is Ninja. What? How? This is considered one of the worst coasters of all time, right? I went in thinking this ride was gonna suck, cause it has built up that reputation of being awful. Listen, I only got one ride on this, in the front row, and I thought it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. This custom looper was actually built both by Aerodynamics and Vekoma because Aero went bankrupt in the middle of the building of this coaster, so Vekoma had to finish it. It has 4 inversions, a vertical loop, sidewinder, and 2 corkscrews. The sidewinder tries to kill you, but the loop and corkscrews were fairly enjoyable, I thought, actually. While this is in the lower half of the Aero loopers that I've ridden, I do prefer it over corkscrew at Cedar Point. And a quick shout out goes to the ride ops at Ninja the day I was there. They were booking it the whole time. They were by far the fastest crew at any of the coasters that day. Number 6 is Pandemonium, the Gerstlauer spinning coaster. I had ridden 2 other Gerstlauer spinners before this one, the ones at Six Flags Fiesta Texas and Six Flags New England, and between the 3, this one was the wildest. This had some of the craziest spinning I've ever experienced on a spinning coaster. I myself am not a big spinning coaster fan, that's why this is lower on the list for me. I'd say out of all the spinning coasters I've experienced so far though, this one was the craziest. Number 5 is Batman the Ride, the cloned B&M invert. This one is a mirrored image of the typical Batman layout. I am used to riding the one at Six Flags Over Georgia, so everything was reversed from what I was used to. I do enjoy these Batman clones though. I've ridden quite a few of them now. They are super compact and whippy. Is this one as intense as the one at Six Flags Over Georgia? No. But these rides are always enjoyable, and I have no problem with there being several of them out there. Now is when we get into the unique coasters. Number 4 is Screamin Eagle. This PTC wooden coaster has an out-and-back layout. It is also an Ace Coaster landmark. It has been known for its good airtime. Going in, I was expecting it to have some good airtime, and if I'm being completely honest, I probably set my expectations a little too high for this coaster. I expected it to have better airtime than what it actually did. I did come out of my seat, but it was only a small bit of floater I found, not real powerful. It's still my second favorite PTC, behind Racer at Kings Island, but I thought this could have been my favorite PTC. It's still one of the better coasters at Six Flags St. Louis though. Now we're at the top 3, and these 3 are all interchangeable. They all could swap with one another. Everyone knows what they are, and this is how I have placed them. At number 3, we have the Boss. This is the largest coaster in the park. This CCI Woody is a beast of a ride. I knew people either really liked it or really didn't like it. I really liked it. It uses its terrain well and has insane laterals. Now, I did sit in the front row because I wanted to be able to enjoy this coaster as much as possible. I had heard this coaster was really rough, and while it definitely was rough, it was tolerable. Honestly, by far the worst thing about this coaster is those awful Gerstlauer trains. I had heard these trains were awful, and I absolutely agree. The seats are not very comfortable, and the lap bar is hard metal. It came down hard on me during the ride, and it did not feel very good, but not enough to take away from the insane laterals that this coaster has. People have said for a while that this coaster could get RMC'd, but if Six Flags St. Louis could just replace the trains with Timberliner trains, then this coaster would be even better than it is right now in its current state. At number 2 is American Thunder, the GCI wooden coaster. This ride is super underrated in my opinion. It has a really unique layout, featuring both floater and ejector pops. It's pretty smooth and has the classic Millennium Flyer trains, which are super comfy. Six Flags St. Louis has 3 unique wooden coasters that are all vastly different from one another. That's something you rarely see at parks these days. American Thunder is super re-rideable, and I got last ride of the night on it, which was a great way to end the day. It's not my favorite GCI, but it is still a really good ride. And of course, coming in at the number 1 spot, this is no surprise at all, it is Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. This is one of the most insane launch coasters I've ever experienced. This was my first experience with one of these Mr. Freeze clones. I was actually scared for that reverse launch going in. That backwards launch is incredibly forceful. You get shoved into the lap bar in front of you. Also, the inverted top hat and vertical spike are wicked elements. This was the first coaster I rode at the park, and before I rode anything else, I hopped right back in line for Mr. Freeze again. I had ridden some other Premier Rides LIM launch coasters before this one, including Flight of Fear and Poltergeist, and let me tell you, neither of those come close to this one for me. In my opinion, this is hands down the best Premier Rides coaster that I have ridden. This coaster has easily the best backwards launch on a coaster that I have experienced as well. Mr. Freeze is by far my favorite coaster at Six Flags St. Louis, and this ride, as of now, is in my top 25 roller coasters that I have ever ridden. What's your favorite coaster at Six Flags St. Louis? How much did you agree or disagree with this list? Let me know all that down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and this is Coasters and Things signing out.